I want to thank me for believing in me. I want to thank me for doing all this hard work. I want to thank me for having no days off. I want to thank me for never quitting. I want to thank me for always being a giver and trying to give more than I receive. I want to thank me for trying to do more right than wrong. I want to thank me for just being me at all times.
Hello, welcome to another episode of speakHerbox podcast, and we're so excited about this collection, which is all about the entrepreneurial pivot. And you know, we've done some major pivots as entrepreneurs ourselves, so we're excited for you to dive into this collection. And again, I'm your co-host Nadia, Sasso,
and Hetep. So I think it's kind of, first we got to talk about what came out the speakHerbox, right?
Yeah. What was that?
It was the Snoop Dogg saying, I want to thank myself. Little mini clip that we saw. Yeah. And I think when you're building a brand or building your business or whatever, just remember to thank yourself. You know,
give yourself grace.
Yeah,
you know, you put in that work.
Yeah. And so like this setup, we kind of wanted, because most of the time we spend most of our time on the set, like creating content or like doing it, and we have to do it in many different places. Like you gotta shoot, when you shoot, Nadia's always like content, we need content. And you making it anyway.
I know her.
And I'm just like, oh my god, like what? I don't know, just tell me what to do. That's it. Like I don't know how to maneuver this stuff, like, you know,
because she's used to being like the director,
right,
and the producer,
right.
And we do share a lot of roles, because you're in filmmaking, I'm also like in documentary, but I do a lot of creative production as well.
Right. Is, you know. And I think with my kind of like lifestyle thing, it's like as a director, let the work speak for you. Like I want you to see my work first and then say, who's this person? I don't want to be known and then the work.
She don't want to be a brand.
Yeah, and then Nadia's like, I'm a brand, and like
what did Daisy say? I'm not a businessman, I'm the businessman. Like, we the business. Look.
That rapper confidence. Yes. So I don't know, let's talk about that. Like you are a brand expert. Like you know all about brands, how to build brands.
I wouldn't say more so brand expert. I would say, like, for me, I always say, when people ask what do you do, which is the $1 million question.
All the time.
The thread of everything that I do is more so storytelling and more so like messaging, right? And so when you think of storytelling and messaging, that's why you see me in the branding realm, because you got to be able to clearly tell your story as a business or as a brand, and that's what's going to make people support your business, whether you're selling like some of our gas nutcrackers juice,
that's coming up,
you know what I'm saying, or you're selling a service. Like you got to be able to let people understand what's behind that, right? To, you know, being a documentary filmmaker or filmmaker in general, or working on like commercials, or working on as a creative director for different projects. What keeps all of that together and what makes people consume any of that content or any of that messaging is the story.
Yeah, but I also think that's kind of new. Like the story of, you mean the story of like who's behind all this creative content, or the story of like what the content is?
I think both, right? Because depending on what it is, like for instance, okay, we're building a brand right now. Let's use speakHerbox, right? And this is a brand and a business, right? Because who are we kidding? We want to hear more content about us. We want to tell more stories, you know, like black stories, our story, and just showcase the diversity or the layers, right, of blackness. Right. And so you need to be able to tell, in order for us to do that, if we're kind of a lifestyle brand, or we're kind of like talking about our stories, we have to kind of bring ourselves to the table and tell that story. Right. But then also, what is the overall story of the podcast, right? Right. So it's like sometimes you have to bring in the person, and sometimes you also have to know what you're trying to accomplish as the brand. Like, we just don't want to be like, yeah girl, so what we did today and where we come from, you know, because you might get bored, but what are we doing with this story? Are we inspiring you? Are we promoting you to start your own business with this collection? Are we educating you on certain topics? You know, I think that is like, this is a new world for me, being that I come from like being I'm always behind the scenes and always in creating. So this is a new world. Like I think just recently in the last like 7 years, other than music video directors, you knew
they were like celebrities, right? Music video directors were celebrities.
You never knew. I think Every Renee said that. Like, you never knew. And now she's a brand.
And now it's like directors are like becoming like a brand, and I think it's so funny because it's very uncomfortable for like most directors when you meet them in person. They're socially awkward because they're like always engulfed in behind the scenes, the vision and all this stuff. So now this new wave of like you're a brand now. When you're yes, we love your work, but we also want to be invested in your life. Ava DuVernay does a really good job of you not knowing her personal life, and that's what I love. Like, I don't want you to know my personal life, you know?
Yeah. And to a certain extent, I can agree on that level multiple times. I think off camera we were even just talking about this, so we'll bring it back on camera. In relationship to you know, I wasn't always comfortable being in front of the camera. Actually, when I first started out, I don't know, or coming into the entertainment industry, I always thought that I was a behind the camera person, to be honest. Like, I worked for MTV, Nielsen, Disney. I just thought it was more impactful to kind of work from behind the scenes and change from within. But then after like not getting hired or finding hard to get jobs and different things like that, I realized that, okay, you gonna have to market yourself. You gonna have to be your own business, or because you either you gonna eat or you gonna get eaten.
Oh, right.
You know,
so you were creating jobs for yourself.
Yeah, I had to create jobs for myself and opportunities because what am I gonna wait for somebody to bring me? You know, some money. Right.
And sometimes you have to create your own content, your own story, your own film. I've done my own film.
You've done your own film. You had to do it yourself. And you did that. Why?
Well, because I wanted to not control, but I wanted to have as much say in how the story is being told because of the community, and the topic was so sensitive, and I didn't want to have to like basically white-splain this to white. You know what I mean? I wanted to make sure that I could have a female AD that was from Rwanda, and I didn't have to fight about that. Like, you know what I mean?
So authenticity, right?
Yeah.
And people can feel that authenticity. So when your movie drops, which is going to be, we're going to go ahead and manifest it. It's going to be
still. I mean,
it's going to be great.
I'm almost done.
To drop it.
I'm just a little anal about it. It's almost done. It's in post. By the time y'all see this, it'll be out.
So you know, this is our last collection of the season because she need to finish that film.
This taking a lot.
But you know, when it drops, you're going to have all this creative control. You would have understood the film industry on a whole different level, which not just makes you a filmmaker, but now an entrepreneur.
Yeah,
and it makes you the business.
Now I could teach you. Like, pay me to consult you about how to make an independent film in the continent of Africa.
Stay tuned, masterclass.
Right. I'm gonna tell you all the things that went wrong, so you can get it right. Right. Yeah. So So that's what I think is. It's like, I think the beauty of like us kind of coming together to make the speakHerbox, because I feel like we should talk about, like, it's a lot of work to do this podcast. It's a lot of work to do the imagery. And I have to credit Nadia a lot because she has a really great creative eye for different, like, how things are supposed to look, versus, like, you know, where I'm just like, okay, some of this time I'm thinking of things as like a film, and so like,
but we need that too, right? Because you're watching us, and this is a production,
right?
And so I'm like, you know what, Shaki, you're a little bit better at production this round than I am, right? I'm gonna take off that hat, right? And you gonna wear it, and then we just kind of, you know,
right. So it's kind of like having, when you're building something, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out here like, what do I want to do? If you're thinking about making something, thinking about starting a podcast, starting a business, or and you're partnered with someone, I think the key thing is we had conversations about what we want this to be, right? So I think that's one of the key things when you're starting something is like, and with a partner, make sure your conversation, your foundation of what that looks like,
right?
You know?
Yeah, I think we even mentioned that earlier, again, off camera. We should have saved all that concept on camera. But like, knowing your partnership, knowing your strengths and weaknesses, right? So one of the major things of, like, as we talk about entrepreneurial pivots, right? We've had to pivot many a times in various industries, because maybe the partnership wasn't working out, maybe it wasn't no longer, you know, lucrative. And so if you have an understanding and you have things in place that protects both of you and the vision that you once created, that helps you. And if the vision changes because times have changed or the relationship has changed, sometimes that's not always a bad thing. Communicate and move on. Like, sometimes you just got to experience things, people, and situations.
Right. Yeah. That's true. Like, you know, sometimes like you don't know how something will take off or something will be stagnant, and just learning how to like go with the flow, but also have a clear idea of like what you were trying to give and brand. I think that's what it is. It's like, be clear. I think sometimes people start things and they're not really clear what their brand is, which is okay, you know, but
what their business is.
Oh yeah, what their business, like what's their business about, like, but they have great ideas, but like, you know, but a great idea still needs a foundation.
Yep, it does.
So like that's what I think with sharing some of our like ups and downs.
I think what we also learned, if you know, for anyone listening that's like a new up and coming, you're trying to start a business or whatever, first things first was contracts, right? So we had to get a legal team together, because when you look at this from a business, whether this is making money or not right now, from every guest that you see, there has to be a release form for us to even do that. You know what I'm saying? For every person that we're working with, you know, we have to make sure that they sign contracts and that, you know, we're paying them out and that we're negotiating, and you know, in the industry,
they're very clear.
You know, the deal memos, but they're the same as like, you know, any other contract you would, understanding like what, you know, what it is to hire freelancers. Also building a team, like what you see here, it's us too, but we have a producer, Ariel, we have operations manager, Sade, we have someone who helps with community management and social, Deja, we have Shakira who also helps produce us with content and reach out to guests. We have Jason, who's always behind the camera, sometimes in front of the camera, entertainment, and Larry the stylist, the editor, and, you know, makeup artist that we always work with, Mara. We have, so this is a team, so we're managing as much as S-hekh would like to say. You know, like, oh, I'm not a brand, sis.
I know, I'll be like, what? Because I'm just S-hekh Hetep Ibrahim from Brooklyn, so I just be like, I'm not really
a bad bit.
But I would say though, like I feel like now it might seem like we have a lot. Like we just utilize our relationships to make this, and I think whatever relationship that you could utilize to make whatever you is, not everybody is gonna have that access to have everything encompassed, right? So like, you can utilize like if you have come from a family of siblings, sometimes you could tell them your idea and ask them, hey, do you want to help me with this, like, you know, and have family involved with it. Sometimes it won't work out, but like I think with someone that doesn't have the relationship, that because we both come from production background, we just utilize our relationship. We knew these people in our Rolodex already, you know, but like,
and sometimes it's just taking a leap out of good faith, right? Because yes, of course, the first thing we did when starting this, or I even doing any venture that I'm going into, was like, hey, who do we know in our back pocket that we can, you know, we can utilize? But second is also, before I even had that or knew what that looked like, being on a college campus, you know, people would see, you know, you're doing something dope and be like, oh, how'd you do that? Okay, I ain't gonna have time to tell you how I did it, but what you can do is, I'm not gonna convert you. You want an internship? You want to shadow me? I'm gonna give you some projects and we're gonna make this work. And that's kind of how I started. So then you're like, okay, that's not enough. And then you know, you want to do that mentorship program, you want to help everyone, but then how can you also make sure that they're not only learning now, but now you want to start paying people, because you want them to start taking your brand and the business just as serious, and make sure that they invested in it as well. Right.
We'll work out some agreement of like, after a certain amount of things, then we'll go back to like, maybe I can give you money now, maybe because I have brands that are going to sponsor you now, or I know Nadia is really good with social media. I'm not savvy on the app, so she knows how to maneuver that, and I'll be like, okay, it goes over my head. It goes over my head. So like, I know the new age of using social media, but I know there's other things that, cause I always had to take unconventional roles to make ways to make what I wanted to make, to be honest. Even with my film, even being able to fly a crew of like, I feel like it was like 10 people from America, and then, you know, crew from Kenya I flew in, and then also my Rwandan crew. Like whenever I tell people that, they're like, how did you do that? Like, you know, how did you make that work? How did you? And I was like, oh, it's a very unconventional story of how to get it, you know what I mean? So like, I know it's like there's an A, B, and C way, but try to look at other ways to get what you need.
I think you have to be more specific, right?
Yeah.
Because, you know, I think that's one thing we both have in common, is being unconventional, which is why this works. Yeah, I'm good at visual stuff and the creative, but you have your a tremendous strength, whether it's being very resourceful and you very good at negotiating. Like sometimes I'd be like, look, can we just make a decision? Let's just pay the money because I'm tired. You know, like, and those are all work. You know what I'm saying? Those are all things that you need. But I think that let me get my train of thought back together. But when it comes to business and building a brand, and you know, you don't have to. Oh yeah, I was asking you, now I remember. Okay, how to break down the unconventional ways, right? So for me, when I started released my first film, I kind of like, instead of, most people would say you have to pay, films is an expensive industry. That's kind of why we are so resourceful, because it is an elitist industry where people like us don't really make it. Right. So I'm like, okay, in academia, okay, I'm going to present this film as like a research, and then I'm going to get the institution to fund it and departments to fund it, and then, you know, see what I can do the rest. I still maxed out some credit cards, but for the most part, that's unconventional, right? And then thinking about, okay, how did I brand this film to even make money later afterwards? Not even really make money, it was just kind of recoup my losses for the most part. But okay, going on a college tour, now have people pay you to come speak, because now they're not just paying for the film, they're paying for your IP, your intellectual property, and now every audience that you sit in front of is now free marketing, right? So like, that's what we mean by being a little unconventional. So if you want to go into an example of what it looks like to be unconventional in business, I think.
So some of the things, I mean, let me talk about like the film just to give you an idea in case you, I mean, I feel like there's going to be a lot of creators watching this. It's like how, even from down to like the person that helped me write this film, she wanted she is a great director herself, and also wanted to like start writing features. And I was like, well, I can't really pay you the money that you're worth, but what I do have is access to when I'm working commercial jobs, I could bring you on, right? And then that helps you get your health insurance. You have constant income coming in, and then I can connect you with these other things. So because she also wanted to do treatment writing, now she's writing treatments for production companies just based on me utilizing my connection. So that's some of the things that I do, is I'll be like, okay, if you want to help me with this project, I'm gonna always be like true to my word. I can, and you, what is your interest? Because I probably know somebody that can help you get there.
And there's two gems right there. Staying true to your word. Your word, your reputation is everything. No matter how much money you have, you can't buy a new reputation, and these streets are small. So keep that impeccable. The next one, utilizing your resources and putting people on. You ain't gonna get put on if you don't put other people on.
Amen.
So whatever you think you got going on, humble yourself, get your shit together, and understand that you only get blessings by blessing others. And that's really what's gonna take you out in business. Yes, business is cutthroat. Yes, you gotta know a lot of stuff. You gotta have that team. You better get them lawyers. You better get them contracts. You need to, you better have your EIN number. It's the whole nine. But if you are genuinely good to people, you know what I'm saying, good to people and blessing other people, those things will come back, and it will help. When you least expect it, it'll come up. Look at COVID.
You also have to be that person that sees that, okay, I might not be able to get this money right now, but this person's saying, okay, I'll get you other jobs, right? That pays you that money. But some people, they only see what can you give me right now, and that kind of blocks their blessings from getting away. I know people take advantage, but that's when you have to have some kind of friendship or understanding of who that person you are. That's like thing, because one thing with my friends always tell me is, Shecky will make sure you get paid. The bag, whatever, it will come back tenfold, and you will be blessed tenfold. Because I would give you what from me. Like, I didn't get nothing. Like, I'm the only one that didn't get paid for this film, right? Because I made sure I gave, and I was giving people money because they were like, yo, I need to pay my rent before I was like, all right, I'll pay you before you even get there, before you even do the work, right? Because I'm just like, and like, I'm just that person, because of like, I know that you are going, I know that the type of relationship we have, you're not going to do me wrong, and I'm not going to do you wrong, right? But then that's the risk you take.
Sometimes it does happen, but business is risky.
That's the risk you take as an entrepreneur.
You just gotta be ready, and then you pivot. But this collection is pivot. Even if that does happen, look, my contract should have been tighter. Okay, now instead of paying my lawyer when I need to have that lawyer on retainer. And do I know my jurisdiction in every situation?
Right. Yep. I would say that's one lesson I did learn was the one person I didn't have agreement with, like on paper, was the one person that went away. So I've always like, let's have some kind of, I will even have like an email or a text message like, we agree to this, while even through text, because sometimes you can't afford that. Lawyers are not cheap. No. And me and Nadia have the same lawyer for this kind of stuff. So, like, you know, lawyers are not, like, cheap, but, like, they have a lot of legal outlets, free outlets that you can get something in
It's
paper.
not even that. For me, is I probably can't afford my lawyer, guys, to be very honest. And it's not because I'm living a false life. But what I will tell you is the money that I do lose, it ain't worth it.
It's not worth
I'm gonna go ahead and pay her and buy her money every time on time.
Yeah.
Just so I ain't gotta hit rock bottom no more and be looking like, ooh, what's happening? So yes, sometimes, yes, that may mean less dinners out to eat. That may mean not as fancy shoes.
Right.
But understand your priorities.
Yeah.
But also, you gotta believe in yourself. Like, I'm betting on myself.
Right.
To know that if I make this sacrifice now, it's gonna come a time where, oh, lawyer, schmoyer, whatever you want.
Right. And they'll get you too. They'll be like, yeah, it's like $500 per hour, and you'll be like, you only sending me a template. I know you sending me a
Not
template.
only that, I got your intern to do it, but okay.
All right, right. But I'm like, dang, she's expensive. But like, that would save you a lot of headache and a lot of money in the long run. So just always have like some kind of agreement when you're building your business brand. If you're an entrepreneur, like, you know. And it's going to be a lot of losses, losses before you win.
But also to win, I think that one thing that I wish I would have known as a serial entrepreneur, or, you know, even providing different services, and, you know, I have a variety of things that I do for business. I wish that when I first started out, someone had told me, like, what are your pay rates? You know what I'm saying? Like, understanding what you need to survive. So if my rent is this, and my bills are this, my team costs this, I want to be on vacation 3 to 4 times a year, I don't want to work on weekends, what do I need to be making from a yearly perspective? What do I need to be making from a monthly perspective, weekly, and even a day rate, right? Or even an hourly rate. So any Joe Smo come at me, you know, you're not just picking up any project, right? You're not just, as freelancers too, sometimes, or having different clients, now you know your worth. Yeah. You can negotiate better, whether it's you working on a film project, or whether it's me offering branding services, or whether it's consulting, you know, for major companies, or even honestly influencer rates, right? You know, as we, you know, get sponsorships and different things like that, you now know what does it take for you to feed yourself, because nobody wants to be eating ramen forever.
Right. And then when you have that kind of foundation for yourself, you will get to a place where you can turn down jobs. It's like there's so much beauty in like having not to say yes to every job. Because when you are building your business or your brand or whatever you could get burned out.
Look, this is a conversation that we just had, I think, a couple of months ago. She's like, hey sis, you want this job? I'm like, sis, I can't. I'm dying over here. I mean, yes, the money is good, but not all money is good money. And I think we're at an age and a situation where once you know your value and your worth, that's one step. But then also, now you got to value your mental and physical health. And dying over money ain't really worth it. Like, I know there's this culture of like, sleep now, you can, sleep later, do everything now. And I once was a firm believer of that. And now to unlearn all of that is a lot of work. But if you ain't healthy, what money you gonna make?
Right. If you can't, like when I told my doctor, I was like, literally I only get like 4 or 5 hours sleep. He said, that's your problem right there. That's why you haven't like these issues.
That's why you got weight. That's why you know you can't sleep at night.
So I'm like, all right. And then once he said that, I was like, I don't want to come down the line and like this and have all these health issues because I'm like exhausting myself by doing these multiple projects or whatever. So I'm like, that's a good thing. That's a good person. Now I have like a manager that managed me. She's like, I'm gonna check in with your personal life as well, not just business, but your personal life as well, and making sure you're personally being healthy, because that's the only way you could be your best self. And they always say building a business and having your own, you know, brand or whatever, it's a 24-hour job.
It's a 24-hour job. And we are in the generation that glorifies the 24-hour job, and everyone has a 24-hour job. But now, you know, we have to reel it back. Like, how can we scale, right? How can we delegate more? How can we be better leaders?
Right.
You know, like we don't have to do everything. I think that's one thing we're learning.
Right.
We were like, well, we don't have any money. You know, this is a new podcast. You know, different things like that. But if we don't do that, there will be no podcast after this season if we don't have a team.
right. You have people that help you along the way. But I think with with speakHerbox, we saw that there was a niche needed.
Yeah.
And being like two dark-skinned women, hate it, and cute. We really wanted to not be the voice of, because black people are not a monolith, but be an add to the conversation.
Yes, I think add to the conversation is
and be so confident and be so like, that's why we take time with like having the stylist put our outfits together. So because we're not super skinny girls, like you're gonna get something that is just like a whole full look that you probably don't normally see in mainstream right now. And that was so important for us to make this podcast and do it right and build it and make it. It's because we understood what was the foundation of this brand. You know, we had that conversation. We're like, where are there the people that look like us? Right.
And what are they looking like and how are they being represented on screen? What are they saying? What are they using their platforms for? How are they using their voice? And so, yeah, I think that's one thing we're very aligned on is how are we using this platform? How are we amplifying other voices, not just ourselves? And really just, you know, bringing it together. So I think that goes when we bring that back to what this collection is about. Knowing your brand, knowing your business. If you can't invest the time to understand what it is, your story you're telling, or what business it is you're building, or what solution, you know what I'm saying, you're solving, or you're filling the gap somewhere, then how do you think somebody's going to invest in you, let alone hire you? You know what I'm saying? Because at this point, there are people looking to, if somebody tells you there's not enough money out here for you, they'll lie.
That's true.
If they telling you it's not enough room for everybody to eat, they'll lie. If they telling you what you need to do can't be done, they're a liar. Just keep doing it, keep perfecting your craft. I'm not saying it's gonna happen overnight.
Oh no.
You know, I think we've put in a decade in the game already. But you'll get noticed, there's people watching, and sometimes the great Nipsey Hussle once said, and probably he didn't even really say it, I don't know, but we know it more from him, like, you know, opportunity, like everything, luck is preparation meets opportunity. So like stay prepared, and then your opportunity will come and everything will come together.
My mom used to say all the time, like, if someone says no to you, that means that's not the person for you. Like, that's just not the person for you. And find that BS person, because if somebody is gonna BS or support your business and stuff. And I noticed, like, when you are building something, sometimes your family is not the first people to support it or come on the bandwagon. It's strangers. I don't make no businesses or no brands for family or friends, because I want to have a family and friends when it's done, whether it exists or it don't. Because that's how you harbor resentment, because you think people owe you something or they're expected to. You know, I had a t-shirt brand, they supposed to buy I don't think my mother ever bought a t-shirt, so I'm not gonna like her because she didn't. I can't even know what we do. So
like, I mean, it was an online brand, so she probably can't go get it, you know. Again, they don't know, but I'm just saying, like, create your business and keep it, you know, think of a bigger perspective, a bigger, you know, so you still have friends and family at the end of the day, you know. And also get used to being uncomfortable, you know, because that's what this journey is all about. It's gonna be, you know, it's not gonna be simple. And to the no thing, like, that no may not be for you, but best believe, if you tell me no, you need to tell me why. Because
she said why?
I be like, oh, you didn't mean to say no, so let's go back over this again. And sometimes you gotta be, you know, reluctant, and you have to push barriers, because, you know, I've shared a post before where I'm talking about how much, like, scholarships I've had, or how many, you know, grants I've gotten, or, you know, that was for businesses or for investments in different projects. And that was by being like, oh, why you saying no? Oh, okay, I'm gonna go tweak this a little bit. Okay, now you gotta say yes, but
because you gave them what they
write me my check. You know what I'm saying? Let's go. And then you don't have a choice. So sometimes it just may be you need a little tweaking. It may be that you need a little refining. Maybe it's just not your time. Maybe whatever. But don't give up. It's the essence of the story.
Especially if you believe in it, do not give it up. It's like Charlamagne the God from the Breakfast Club. He always say everybody needs to kind of believe in their dream, except 50-year-old rappers. Like, so, like, I think, like, you know, believe in yourself. I'm kind of paraphrasing. He might even say 35-year-old rappers, because he don't believe you should be a rapper. But I have a ask you Jay-Z, because Jay-Z is like legit. That's a brand.
I'm gonna say there's Jay-Z, there's Nas, there's so many.
Yeah, but they was legends at like 20. Like if you starting off as a rapper at 50, that's a little. I mean, I'm not trying to discourage you. Charlamagne the God said that, not me. All right.
She said, "Don't come after me.
Don't come, go. Send for him. But yeah, like I think when you have, it's just know it's gonna be hard.
Yeah,
it's going to be hard.
And I think a good thing to make it is going to be hard. So you do, while you don't create your businesses for your friends and your family, if they support, great. But it's also very important to have a good tribe, right? Which is why every collection, we really bring our tribe to speak to you all and to have our, candid conversations, because we wouldn't be where we are without them, without their support, without their encouragement, without their, sometimes, like one of the guests we have on today, like I'd be like, hey sis, I'm struggling. Oh, sorry. Next week. Yeah, you're right. Oh, sorry, not today. My bad. So, for instance, like with one of the guests that we have next week, I call her up and be like, look, I'm having issues with speakHerbox sponsorship, and you killing the sponsorship game right now. What is it that I need to do? And she was like, oh, yeah, sis. Boo, 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 boo. And it's not just with sponsorship, but it's more like, hey, are you resting? Are you working out? You need a workout. There's so many things that we support each other with, that you need that as you grow, because if you're like me or S-hekh, Shem, we're first gen. We're probably the first, entrepreneurs, to be honest. Or maybe
I'm second because my mom is out.
But okay, in the film industry, right?
Yeah.
Either way, what I'm saying is you might be the first to do something new that nobody in your family has done.
Right.
And so you have to build a tribe of people who understand what it is that you're doing, or at least can support you through that. Because if not, that's when you're more than likely not going to finish.
Right. Yeah, you should. Some people don't have it, but hopefully you do. Like most people do have that support system, because you do. It's draining, it's mentally draining, but those little rewards, you celebrate it.
Oh yeah.
I don't really do a good job at that, but
tiny ripples make a mighty wave ocean or whatever.
Oh, I never heard that. Okay.
So yeah, you do. You can't just wait and be like, oh, okay, when I make this amount of money, I'm gonna celebrate. No, if you got that feature last week, or someone sent you a text that, oh, I really love what you're doing, like that's a celebration, because you're reaching someone else. You're doing something.
And every little text or comment you guys do give us when y'all see these episodes,
it makes our day. It goes in the group chat, and we like,
we screenshot like, oh, they like this, whatever. Like my friend, she actually texted me the other day, and she was like, we did the whole collection on self-care.
Right.
She said, because she's a lawyer, she has all this stuff, and she's like, I never even thought about I can meditate in the shower. And and how that has shifted my day. So I was just like, oh, it's amazing that when people do hit us up about some things, we're like, okay, we're doing something right. This is a space that's needed, and by the grace of God, he's using us to give those messages to you guys. So it's just amazing. So if you're listening to this right now, watching this right now on podcast, this is your sign to start whatever you want to start.
Yes, do it. There's find whatever resources you need.
Right.
Understand that we never took any traditional paths, whatever Dr. Google or Mr. Google says, it didn't probably work for us.
No.
So we just had to figure it out along the way.
Right. Made a lot. Maybe we should do a whole podcast on what mistakes we made.
Oh yeah, I could tell you a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, it's that's a whole nother collection.
Or even not just mistakes, it's mistakes in finessing, right? From finessing resumes to I think we've even done it hey girl, there's this job, you could do it because I've seen you do the work, so I'm just gonna put you here, and then you get in the door, they get the job. But if we had given them our regular resume, we probably wouldn't get the job.
Right. That's true. Yeah, that's true.
You know what I'm saying? We're but we know, I guess also practicing nepotism within ourselves, within our culture, right? Putting each other on.
Right. That's a big thing.
The finesse, that has been real. Whether it's, sometimes being in spaces where, what's a big finesse that you've already done?
My biggest finesse is I hire black people and give them opportunities.
Oh yeah.
Because white people do it all the time.
Yeah, that too.
That have no background experience in it. I don't care. I will hire you.
Yeah.
Because I know mostly like white males that I work with, they always say, yo, my friend just got me this job. Like, how are you producing a Target commercial campaign and you have never produced before? Because some of his friend.
I do that too.
You know?
Yeah.
So I do the same thing.
Yeah, I definitely. You gotta put bags in your friend's pocket,
Right.
and you guys gotta do the same thing.
Yeah.
Like I remember being on set, and my friend is a floor designer, and they were like, "Oh, we need floors," and the budget was like, $3,000 or whatever. And she was like, "Oh yeah, it's only gonna be like $500," and I was like, "No, sis, it's gonna be $3,000. It's gonna be $3,000.
Right,
and you're gonna get paid, and then you're gonna take
that money and repurpose it in your brand
and invest it into your business. Whatever you want to do, I don't care. But you deserve it. You're that talented.
Yeah, that's even a good one. Like my homeboy too. He has like a trash business, and when he told me the price, I said, no. You won't charge this,
right?
And you need to up your prices. He said, "Damn." I'm like, I'm just saying, like, you know what I mean? Like, so that's a good thing. It's like telling somebody when you recognize, like, hey, your brand or your business is worth more than what you are charging. Encourage them to get what they're worth. You know? Yeah. But I mean, I really hope you guys like enjoy this speakHerbox journey, and obviously you're going to see us grow. Things might change.
Right.
I mean, things might shift. We're still figuring out this brand and what this is, but the foundation is solid.
Right.
And so like I just want to thank you guys for tuning in every week, because this is our last collection before we take a break.
Yeah, before our next season.
Yeah.
We made
not a break, but like a season.
Yeah. Season. But we made a whole season of content. Yes.
And started all during Corona. Right. So like,
and we invested in ourselves.
Right.
Now some people will say that was stupid. Like, why would you spend whatever little bit of money you got during a pandemic on creating a podcast?
Yeah.
But I don't know. We believe in
it. We believe in it.
We know y'all gonna take us to higher heights.
Yep. In the love that we receive. So like
we
always,
appreciate y'all.
Yeah. Like follow us. Like us, subscribe to
tell a friend to tell a friend,
right?
Because we need this speaker nation to grow,
right? And then like come back after the next week and a week after that for the last collection before season 1.
Yes.
Because we're coming back for season 2. It's just season 1, and I really just hope while we are creating and going back into the drawing board that you guys keep sharing this videos.
I'm already excited for season 2.
Yeah, we have we do got like a lot of things that we're like, oh, now we can do this. Ooh,
if y'all thought we was basic, you know what I'm saying, stay tuned.
Thank you.
We got y'all. I love you guys, and we wouldn't be anything without you all.
Peace. Ciao.
Deuce.